The hazards prevailing in Rwanda include droughts, fire, floods, earthquakes, landslides, heavy rain with strong winds, thunderstorms, and diseases and epidemics. These disasters disrupt people's lives and livelihoods, destroy infrastructure, and interrupt economic activities and impede development. Over the last decade, the frequency and intensity of natural disasters, particularly floods and droughts, has significantly increased, increasing the tolls of human casualties as well as economic and environmental losses. In spite of the increase in the frequency of natural hazards, there has never been any comprehensive documentation about disasters that might facilitate effective planning and the establishment of concrete mitigation measures. In order to tackle this issue, the government of Rwanda, through the Ministry of Disaster Management and Refugee Affairs, and in partnership with the UNDP, launched the Developing Comprehensive National Disaster Profile Project, which will provide a databank of information on hazards and risks that affect the country. Launched in December 2013, the project is jointly funded by the European Union and the African, Caribbean, and Pacific, with the World Bank being a funding custodian and UNDP Rwanda as the main provider of technical support.
The development of the risk atlas will provide sufficient information on disaster risk across the country. The general mission will be done more efficiently and effectively, as it will inform policy decisions, strategies, and the programs on disaster management, prevention, mitigation, response, recovery, or step of disaster management will be fully enabled.
Through this project, a study was conducted to map all prone areas, establish existing risks and vulnerabilities in order to propose concrete mitigation strategies. The study focused on floods, droughts, earthquakes, storms, and landslides as the most frequent hazards that has impacted Rwanda's socio-economic development for decades. Prior to the creation of this atlas, there has never been previous documentation on disasters in Rwanda. However, local residents have an oral history that is passed on through generations.
Mbere nyine hari ahantu hari ishyamba harimo akayoboro k'amazi, noneho ubwo ka kayoboro k'amazi katurukaga nyine mu imisozi ya ruguru, amazi aza kwihera ikawa kera. Ubwo rero ko kayoboro kamanukaga mu tuzi bigeze kagahuza n'amazi yari hari hasi. Ubwo ko hari agashanga gafite utuzi dukeya, haza naho kuzamuka hacika, noneho bikajya bigenda bikajya mu gishanga cy'abaturage batuye hari hasi. Hari n'igishanga cyiza cyeraga neza rwose, ariko ubu hahindutse itaka y'iki kintu cy'igitukura mbese mureba.
And this indigenous knowledge has been vital in the data collection process.
The process of risk assessment is composed of 4 main steps. First is to understand the country situation, which includes data gathering. Secondly is the hazard assessment and mapping. And third is to assess the exposure, which elements are exposed. And finally is to assess the vulnerability and calculate the risk.
The project has also played a significant role in building local capacities to ensure the sustainability of what has been achieved.
The project has been implemented through very innovative way. And today, the humanitarian community working on disaster risk reduction has fully embraced innovation. And the elements of that are as follows. One, it has been almost fully nationally owned and driven, of course with our support. It was based on to a large extent, on indigenous knowledge. Of course, backed up by scientific methodology. And we also ensure that the expertise, local expertise, is utilized as much as possible for sustainability. And going beyond that, the expertise that has been developed here could be utilized in other regions in Africa.
The findings of this study will be published in an atlas detailing the risk index per district, the expected losses and damages per scenario, and the mitigation measures required per hazard.
The produced document contains maps showing hazard-prone areas. It also details the risk or potential losses. And finally, some recommendations towards disaster risk reduction are proposed.
The experiences gained through documenting previous disasters through local knowledge and working with regional experts has set Rwanda up to both be prepared for the next disaster and assist other countries in the region.